internet friends, it's Cam, your zillennial girly, and your July baby is turning a year older today. I feel blessed to have lived 25 eventful years. As I'm stepping into the first year of my late 20s, I want to seize this bittersweet moment to share 20 life lessons I wish I knew in my early and mid-20s. I'm baking a cake with the help of my friend, so you go brew some tea and get ready for a short and sweet coming of not too old age talk. I grew up with active parents pushing me to exercise or die. Then I came into young adulthood, heavily exposed to skinny and fit Instagram models. There's this halo around being semi-athletic that I wanted to wrap myself around. But actually, you don't need that much exercise. Now, I'm not saying working out is bad, it's more about how the thoughts of exercising affects you. If going to the gym every day makes your heart race in a good way, then keep going. But if it feels like an unenjoyable chore, and if you're generally healthy enough to not require so much working out, it's fine to have a break. Unless advised by medical pros, is there any other real reason why you have to exhaust yourself with working out? For me, chasing after a slim thick body became invalid once I realized those curvy girls on the internet are not real. What I think is more important is knowing what's in the food you eat. No amount of workouts will make up for a bad diet, but know that not all foods claimed as healthy are good for you. Something I always do when getting groceries is to read nutrition labels. Look at the standard serving size, then check the percentage of daily values for sugar and sodium in particular. Over 15% per serving is a lot. I do feel like a hypocrite saying this while baking a cake, but I'm not preaching restrictive diets either. Eat a variety of foods, eat that veggies and fruits, but also devour that bread and butter, of course in balance and with moderation. My experience coping with post-COVID depression was a wake-up call that the mind and body connect, and my mind is only as strong as my body is. I did as much as I could to fix my mind, which helped with the surface level problems, but the core issue was not fully resolved until I found a great acupuncturist who was able to educate me on how much my diet, breathing technique, heart health, and physical strength affected my mental response to stress and depression. This doesn't mean having a strong body makes you immune to mental illness, but coping definitely feels less daunting when you have more energy and endurance. And this is key. Your mental health matters. You're a strong, independent, unwavering spirit until life takes a turn big enough to make you lose your mind. So rather than only acquiring coping skills to put out the fire, take continuous care of your mind to prevent breakdowns. But if it inevitably happens, acknowledge your weak moments and don't be ashamed to seek help. Help is not always in the form of expensive therapy though. Seriously, just sharing your story with a friend or anonymously with strangers on the internet is a way. I promise you, at least someone out there would be willing to help. Drop a comment and I'll hear you out. Okay, let's talk relationships. Since the age of 17 or something, I was always in a relationship with someone. So last year, when I ended my most recent relationship that lasted more than 5 years, it felt like I lost a piece of myself. I had my life planned around my partner, so the breakup means my future outlook of life collapsed. Fast track to over a year later, I'm still well and alive. Of course, life looks different from what I anticipated, and there were ups and downs, but I do better than I thought without another half. If you crave companionship, you can still find it from family and friends. You might not actually need a partner because you're simply enough as yourself. Instead of obsessing over not having a romantic partner, show more care to your family. I lived with my parents until 22 and took their presence for granted. Now that I'm so far away, I wish I had treated them every day as if it was my last. I can only see my folks once a year now, so every moment I get to spend with them is precious. As you grow older, they also get older too, which means your time with them is limited. And time flies, so don't live with regrets. Make your family a top priority. In my young adulthood, I honestly spent much more time with my friends than my folks. I have great friends that stick around regardless of what I give, but I also have some to whom I've given much thought and care without reciprocation. Not all your friends will be your ride or die, and that's okay. I see my close friends as strategists for different areas in my life. You might have that work buddy who's there to chat about careers, dating expert that gives incredible relationship advice, and many that are just fun to hang with on a Friday night. Just like you, your friends have a lot going on in their lives, and you can't always be a priority. Each of them, though, helps to form a social circle that completes you. Appreciate the friends you have without expecting all of them to devote their whole self to the friendship. But if there's someone who's always there for you no matter what, make sure you match that energy. I get asked how I make and keep friends sometimes. I'm by no means a social butterfly, but I've been able to make more friends in the recent 2 years than my whole time in K-12 and undergrad combined. And it's thanks to small talks, something I thought were useless. Rather than talking big, be personable. Ask how their day goes, slide in thoughtful questions as the conversation flows, respond in ways that show you're truly listening. Also follow up after everyone is home to let them know you enjoyed their company. From my experience, seemingly trivial small talks actually draw out a lot about a person that you won't discover through regular interactions. Try it out and let me know how it goes in the comment. In my early and mid-20s, education and career are probably things I thought about day and night. If you're struggling to pick a field of study or questioning your choice of education, hear me out. Do what you're good at rather than what is good. I came to Canada for a degree in hospitality and tourism, which I thought was good because I was working in the field with a marketing degree. But after studying that for a semester, I realized it was not meant for me. I did okay academically, but wasn't able to utilize my creative strengths. So I switched to communications, which makes so much more sense. If you plan to pursue post-secondary education or any professional studies, make sure you pick a program based on your skill sets rather than what everyone considers good. A degree is only as good as how well it aligns with your competencies. And school is only there to prepare you for the real working world. As you advance in your career, a typical person will go through many different jobs. Some jobs are temporary gigs we start out with to support ourselves. Others are higher level and require specific skills and experience. With that said, whether the job is low skilled or high skilled does not change the fact that every job is a real job. Just because you're working a survival job does not mean you should half-ass it. For me, I give my best in every work I do, whether it's an unpaid volunteer position, waiting tables, or white-collar jobs. And all of them have been equally rewarding and helpful for my learning journey. Now, as you stack more experience along the way, you will surely be given tasks you've never done before. If you don't know how to do it, just do it. There's no real risk in giving things a try. Nowadays, you can practically find a tutorial for anything on the internet. So I wouldn't even show any hesitation and just take on anything within my pay grade, if not above. I find it generally easier to ask for further direction or feedback when you've had some sort of output ready for review. Even if you fail, people will recognize your willingness to learn, grow, and take initiative. Which leads me to my next point, which is learning doesn't stop once you're out of school. The world evolves so fast that what used to be state-of-the-art one day can be obsolete the day after. There will always be a better way of doing something than how you did it yesterday. So always be in learning mode. Be open to adapting new ideas. If your company provides professional development training or gives out funding for you to take certifications, definitely take advantage of it. In your 20s, a typical person will be dealing with more and more money as their career progresses. When you have very little to no money, it is likely a major motivator for you to push through in life. Sure, money is everything, until it's not. I used to work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, which allowed me to pay my living expenses and save some, but life didn't happen outside of work. I had my laptop open even when hanging out, no real vacation time. I needed to grind at that point in life, and I learned so much from it, but at the expense of my health and social life. Would I do it again? Maybe, but not unless I have no choice. I've learned to give myself a break when I can afford to work less to salvage my soul. And when I didn't have much money to spend but lots of demand, I bought cheap stuff. I looked at things at face value and thought I had a good deal, until all the things fall apart after a couple of uses. When you think about it, some cheap stuff is actually more expensive in the long run. Now, I'd rather buy well-made, durable things at a higher price because I know they'll last me years. I'm still a thrifter at heart, but when I have to buy new, I'm not going straight to the clearance aisle without second thoughts. By the way, I don't think this is said enough, but don't spend money you don't have. Just because you have access to a large amount of money doesn't mean you should spend it all. I know there are special circumstances where it's unavoidable, for example, to get food, medications, to meet basic needs, but I just won't get a line of credit to buy a designer bag or max out my credit limit to buy something random I cannot afford to pay in full right at that moment. And provided you live within your means and grow your income over time, there should be some spare money left. For me, I save some but invest most of them. I'm not a financial advisor or finance bro, so I won't tell you what to invest in. I personally try to diversify my investment with safer options like GIC and dividend stocks, as well as riskier ones like growth stocks and cryptocurrencies. Oh, but same with my previous point, do not gamble with money you don't have. Borrowing money to invest without a strategy is a disaster I've witnessed firsthand, and don't wish that for anyone. Before saying goodbye to my 25, I want to give a few words that I hope would resonate with you all, regardless of how old you are. First, when life gets hard, zoom out. I've been through tough times, survived, rinse and repeat. I'm sure you did too. And every single time when it happened, it felt like life couldn't get worse. And it does get worse. But every single time I get myself out of adversity and look at things in retrospectives, the darkest days did not look as grim as I thought they were. So I like to tell myself that this too shall pass. You have learned from your pain and you're capable of overcoming any hardship that gets in your way, just like how you did it last time and the previous times before that. And it's nice to live a peaceful life with no stress, but just like a movie with no climax, life is no fun without drama. Of course, stepping out of your comfort zone can be daunting, but you will not know what amazing new things are there for you without getting out there. Start with something low risk and work your way up. You realize you have it in you to overcome much more than you think. Throughout my 20s, I've been asking myself this question from time to time. Who am I? What do I stand for? What's my worth? Now, I've learned to place my self-worth on everlasting values. I used to be jealous of people with better looks, better grades, more wealth, more power. But that toxic behavior really skewed my self-esteem. If I placed my self-worth on outer beauty, I would hate myself if my look ever changes. If I made money my identity, I would be pathetic the day I no longer make as much. But my skills, knowledge, and lived experience are what no one can take away from me. And same goes to everyone. With all the conversations that you've had and will continue to have with yourself, make sure to talk to yourself like you would to a good friend. Think about all the negative things you tell yourself every day. Would you say any of that to your friends? I was guilty of negative self-talk, but not anymore. If I won't tell anyone they're boring, useless, ugly, dumb, I would not feed myself with such destructive thoughts. Not in my 20s, not in my 30s, not ever. Happy birthday, early, belated, to everyone watching. May we all grow a year older, wiser, and more resilient. Peace and love.